Hi guys, Jordan from P&P Campers. Just going to do your handover video on your AutoTrail Excel. So if you're starting at the bonnet, got your washer fluid over on the top left hand side, power steering fluid here just in front of that, engine coolant, this one just here at the very front, your brake fluid attached to the servo just down the back is there, engine oil goes in through this cap just here at the front, and your engine oil dipstick is this yellow cap just here. Obviously you've got a little engine cover there to keep it all nice and dry. Your engine battery and these particular cabs sits in under the floor in front of the passenger seat. So if you wanted to jump start the vehicle, your positive prong is just there, and the negative point is this one just here. Your chassis plates are here, so this is the original one just here, the nice silver pressed one, and the sticker one just here, the AutoTrail one, is the one where it's been converted basically. So it looks very, very similar, apart from I'm not exactly sure what the differences are, to be completely honest, but these are the this is the one that you go off basically. Your bonnet release is just here inside the passenger door, so you actually have the door open to get into the bonnet, which is obviously good for security. Tyre pressures just in there. Diesel filling point is this bit just down here. If I carry on now, got your gas locker outside here, so this is on the near side of the vehicle. You've got a hand wheel pigtail, so basically twist that round to the right hand side to loosen it off, and round to the left to tighten it. To turn the bottle on, anti-clockwise around to the left, and to turn it off is clockwise around to the right. Other than that, you haven't got to worry about any other the stuff. You know, all you've got to do really is keep your eye on this date here, so it's 2026, so you replace this by then basically. I'll leave the gas on for a minute because I've got a couple of bits on inside the vehicle. This locker at the back here, a couple of important things. So you've got your water pump just there on the right. This pipe just here you need to be a bit careful of, because that's your freshwater inlet. And other than that, it's just a load of storage. Carpets are in here, so we take the carpets up for the sales, so you get to see what it's like underneath. 2-bike rack, all there, and your reversing camera. You've then got your toilet cassette locker on this offside. So you push both of those buttons in to get that to open up. Lift up on this front piece of orange here, and then you can pull the whole thing out. All you need to know really is you've got a freshwater flush, which is what this pipe is here. So as long as you've got a little bit of water in your fresh tank, you'll be able to drain that out, or flush the toilet, sorry. When you're emptying this out, you empty it from here, and then you hold down the little orange button at the back there whilst you're doing it, and that's it. Freshwater drain is this one down here with the blue end, and your wastewater drain is this one down here with the grey. Hookup point is here, so that's where your hookup goes in, and that'll give you access to using anything 240 volt or 3-pin plug sockets basically. Other than that, we jump in. So nice simple cab, to be honest. You've got a 5-speed manual gearbox. Reverse is lift up here, over and up to the top left. Lights are on this left hand stalk, and indicators. You have got cruise control fitted here, so you can resume from here, on and off, set the speed, all that sort of stuff. Washers and wipers on this right hand side. Other than that, you've got manual mirrors, you know, pretty standard stuff really, not much to go wrong. You can lock and unlock the cab from inside from these buttons here. Hazard lights, obviously your heater settings are all just here, so that's fan speed around the bottom there, where you want the air to go to. You've got a singled in Kenwood head unit there. I can see it's got CD, there you go, if you pull this bit out, you've got aux, USB, so you can charge a phone as well as play music through it, all of that sort of stuff. It's also got DAB I would imagine, because it's got a little aerial bit going over to there. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I've not actually had it on personally. Reversing camera. So if I just put the ignition on, reversing camera should come on. There you go. The ignition went off for some reason. There you go. So you can see the camera up there. Right, so other than that, there's not really a huge amount to show you. Sorry for going a bit fast outside, it's just raining quite hard, so that's why I was trying to... I don't think you better see anything on the camera if I stayed out there for much longer. Okay, so inside the vehicle, we've got a few more bits that are a bit more important, really. You've got your main on and off switch here for your control panel. So this is your control panel just here. Main on and off switch, so I've got that on at the moment, and I've got aux on as well. So main on and off switch and aux will do all of your stuff like lights. Aux will do things like ignition, so if I push down on any of these, you hear the ignition starting, stuff like that. So you need those two on to start with. If you've got enough fresh water in your tank, which I don't at the moment, you'll be able to use your water pump switch. So if I just show you what will happen, if you haven't got any water in your fresh tank, this is what will happen when you turn the pump on. All right, so that's not a problem. It's just telling you that your fresh water is too low to use. Okay, so if you want to check that first, press this button here to show your leisure battery voltage. So you got half full power in there. Vehicle battery voltage, same again, half full. Fresh water level, completely empty. Wastewater level, completely empty. So essentially that's how it works. The reason that the leisure and the vehicle battery are a little bit low is because we're not hooked up on power, so there's nothing actually charging up the leisure battery. The lights are on, you know, there's actually things working inside the vehicle and stuff like that. So what will happen is, if you don't have a hookup plugged into the vehicle, you know, your leisure battery will go down a bit like that. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it, it's just that there's no charge being put into it. So if you imagine, if you started up the engine and the alternator wasn't working, then your engine battery would pretty quickly die, because, you know, there's so much going on, but there's nothing charging it back up. So if you use the van for ages and ages without plugging a hookup into it, so that the charger doesn't come on, you know, the leisure battery will die. So as often as you can, either start the engine, which also charges your leisure battery at the same time, start the engine and take it for a nice long drive, or have a hookup plugged into it if possible. It'll make your life much easier, and it'll also make both batteries last a lot longer. So that's that. As long as you've got some water in your tank, you can then turn your pump on. Once you turn your pump on, you're going to want to come over to your tap here and pull the water through, and just make sure that you haven't got any air in the system. You'll know that there's no air in the system as soon as it starts coming through nice and easily, you know, nice and clean, without sort of coughing and sputtering all over the place. Once it's done that, and once you've got it through on the hot side as well, make sure there's no air in the system, you can then come over to here, which is your Webasto heating and hot water system. So if you go down on here, it will drain all of the water out of the system, as in the boiler system. So you don't really want to do that until it gets really cold if you're not going to use the van. But otherwise, you go up 1, which will get you 40 degrees of hot water. Up 2 will get you 70 degrees of hot water. Next one over is heating, and next one over again is heating and hot water. Okay, so if I put it on heating only at the moment, because I've got no water in the tank at the moment, heating only, and then I can just turn this right up for the minute, and then basically after a few minutes or so, the heating will start coming out. The heating comes out through the little circular vents around the vehicle, wherever they might be. Oh, there you go. So this one down here, look, I can already feel air being pumped out through there. So that's how that works basically. Oh, you got another one here, look. There you go. Same again, I can feel the air coming out. Don't worry, this does all have to be cleaned. When we're doing the habitation check on it, you know, they do get quite dirty if, you know, if it's raining outside and things, so don't worry about that. Right, so that's the sort of heating and hot water system. Like I said, it's really important to make sure that your water is coming through, there's no air in the system before you start trying to use that. Light switch is just here, which, you know, is simple stuff. You'll work that kind of thing out quite quickly. The drain back in there, like that. So we can put this away now. So as long as you've got your gas bottle switched on, you can then come to here. Obviously, like I said, the power and the aux switch will allow you to use these ignitions. But basically, it's like any household cooker. Usually these kind of hobs have got the separate ignition switch or no ignition switch at all. But this one's quite nice so that you can literally use it like a household one. So if I push down and to the left on this, you see the gas flame lights up. And you can just let go of it like that. Same with them, you know, same with all of them. You've got what's called a thermocouple on each of these. So if you listen out, at some point when I'm talking, you'll hear a couple of clicks, 3 clicks. And basically what they do is the flame will go out. If you haven't turned the gas off, then the thermocouple will stop the gas coming through. If there's no flame there. There you go. So that's the clicks I was talking about. So that sound is the thermocouple stopping any gas coming through until you light it back up again. So essentially, if I lit one of these up like that, and then I blew that flame out and didn't turn this off, the gas would carry on pumping through until the thermocouple stops it, basically. So it's just another safety thing. Another thing I'll tell you is, now that I've had these 3 on, even just for this amount of time, I'm not going to put the lid down straight away just yet, even though they're all switched off. If you put it down straight away after using these, any of them, after a few seconds or so, it'll get so hot underneath and so cold on the top that, you know, these do just shatter sometimes. It does take quite a lot to make that happen, so that is a bit extreme, but I've seen it plenty of times where they have shattered. I think normally it's when people accidentally shut it when there's actually still lit, but even if you just turn these, you know, turn them off and then put the lid down straight away, you will, you know, I'm certain that it will go wrong, basically. So make sure that you leave this to cool down a little bit at least, just before you put the lid down. Let me just see if there's anything else in any top cupboards. I don't think so. There you go. So this is what I was looking for. So being an AutoTrail, it's got this great big Sargent. It's an EC225 power supply unit, so your PSU. So essentially what this is your main power supply unit for the vehicle. So if you plug a hookup cable into the vehicle, you've then got these over here, which is your trip switches. So if you plug the hookup into the vehicle and you couldn't get any of the sockets to work or anything like that, you'd have a little look here, make sure that all of these are in the upright position and showing red at the bottom. If they all are, then you're good to go. There's probably something wrong with your appliance or whatever you're plugged into on the outside. When you plug a hookup into the vehicle, your light up here will come on. So this is your charger switch. So basically, as long as that light is on there and your charger switch is on, your leisure battery will be being charged. The charger itself sits inside this vehicle. Will sit inside this unit here, so there's not like a separate charger or anything like that. You then also got what's that? 12 fuses just here. So this is all 12 volt stuff. They've all got little words above them. So that one's leisure, vehicle, permanent supply, all that sort of stuff. So if you had an issue with anything in particular, you can have a little look in here and just double check that the fuses are okay first. Obviously let us know if you do get any problems, but that's where we would look, just so that you know. You've also got your tilt and turn aerial and your TV aerial booster in this locker just here, so it's all quite nicely sort of put away in this cupboard. Other than that, AutoTrail like to keep it nice and simple, so you shouldn't really, you know, it's all up there, to be honest. Right, I'll pop this down now. So down here you've got your, so it's nice as well because you've got spin flow and spin flow here. So this all I think it's Thetford that makes spin flow stuff, but it's all, you know, the same brand. It's all nice stuff. So you got your oven and grill here. So like I said, most of these do have this separate ignition switch, which this one has. So push in and round to the left for the oven, and that will light up with the clicker. Well, Well, if I could do it properly with one hand. But basically you've got push in and round to the right for the grill, in and round to the left for the oven, whilst pressing down on the ignition switch. So that's that. Underneath you've got, what have you got? This plug just here, does it say fridge on it? Yeah, fridge. So the way that I'm going to show you how to use your fridge in a minute, you've got a couple of gas isolator taps just there as well. So if you wanted to isolate any of the gas appliances, you can do so from there. I'll show you how the fridge works now. So it's a 3-way fridge. It works on gas, mains electric, and 12 volt. The 12 volt only works when you've got your fridge cold already. So you need to have the fridge cold on either gas or mains first, and then switch it over to 12 volt only for when your engine's running and you're driving. Okay, so that's really important. If you switch it over to 12 volt without the engine running, first of all, it won't do anything because the engine has to be running for it to work. But also, if you put a lot of stuff in the fridge before you've cooled it down, you know, with either gas or mains, and then just switch it over to 12 volt, drive off somewhere, it will not be cold when you get there. 12 volt is for holding temperature, not for getting the fridge cold. All right, so the way I've got it working at the moment is on gas, and all I've had to do is turn the power switch on in the control panel and switch the gas on in the locker. So if I just show you, I've just turned that off now. All you have to do to actually make it work, once you've done those two things, is this. And that's it. So that's just lit straight up on gas, and after a good couple of hours or so, the fridge will be nice and cold inside. You have got a freezer compartment in there. If there was a mains cable plugged into the vehicle, you can also switch it down to here. It's not doing anything at the moment because there's no cable plugged in, obviously. So really important that you know that only the gas and the 240 volt will get the fridge cold, you know, on their own. So the 240 volt is pretty much just as good as the gas. I think a lot of people say, you know, the gas is the best, really, as in the quickest getting the fridge cold. So it's up to you how you use it. But if you've got access to a mains cable, I just say, you know, why not use the mains, because obviously, you know, gas runs out kind of thing. I know that you have to pay for mains as well, but if you've got it there at the campsite, you might as well use it rather than waste your gas, in my opinion, but that's up to you. So yeah, that's that. What else have we got? Loads of storage over here. So that's all just storage in there. And obviously you've got your bunk beds just here. The ladder to get up to the top is all here, and it hooks onto these two brackets just there. What have we got back here? Just so you know, if you're wondering, that little Fiamma bit there will be one of the brackets for your bike rack. So the toilet is really, really nice and simple to use. Like I said to you, on the outside, you do need to have some water in the fresh tank before this will work. So this won't flush at the moment because I've got no water in it at all. But basically all you have to do is, you've got the flap down here at the front. So this is in the closed position at the moment. So when it's dead straight there, that's in its closed position. Open it up, pushing it to the right like that. That opens it up into the cassette. So you see it closed, open. So basically all you need to do is press the button there to flush it, and then empty it out into the cassette. Empty it into it, close it back over. Really important to close it back over for a couple of reasons. If you don't close the cassette back over, you tend to get bad smells coming back through into the van, because obviously you then got a hole straight into your toilet cassette. So that's probably an obvious one. But also, if you don't close the flap back over, you will not be able to take the cassette out from the outside without breaking it, because it locks it in place basically. You then got your shower. So it's kind of like a shower and sink. So really, with this design, you would probably need to use the kitchen sink as your main sort of sink. But if you wanted to, you could use this as a sink as well. The reason that the reason that you can is because you can leave it here like this if you want to, or pull it all the way out a bit further and then go in up here and then use it as your shower. So you've got your shower compartment there, sink. It's completely up to you how you want to use it. Probably a switch for a light. Yeah, there you go. So the switch for the light is under there, and you've got your skylight up there as well. Now obviously this hooks over so that whilst you're driving it doesn't smash about all the time, and also hooks into here as well with a little magnet bit, or oh no, it's a little clip there. So it really just depends exactly how you want it. It's totally up to you. You've also got this little bit here holding this door, so again, however you want to use it, you can close it all the way over like that, so you can have it all the way shut, or pull it all the way back and then just hook this little bit round to stop it moving around when you're driving. Other than that, I don't think there's a huge amount else to show you. I'll switch the heating off for now, so go back to the off position. So that's that turned off. It will carry on running for a few minutes after you've switched it off, just to sort of like cool itself down. Yeah, it's a really nice fan actually, nice layout. I don't really know what else to show you, to be honest with you. The windows, I'll show you these. So they're all really nice and simple. They're all very similar. You just literally push in on the buttons here and then open these little bits up, and then you've got windows like that. So they basically clip once and then they'll stop where they are. The only thing I'll point out to you about these windows and these stays is that if you're parked right up against something, so if you park really close up against a wall or something like that, and you opened up this window, so let me just show you for example. Imagine you open this window up and you've pretty much just touched the wall there. The window now, if you just pull on it, it won't come in. You have to push it open a bit further to allow it to come back in. So I can't pull it now. A bit further and it comes in. So basically what I mean is, if you park right up against a wall or another car or van or whatever, and you open it up and it's very close to it, you might find that you won't be able to push it open that bit extra to allow it to come back in. Now if that happens, it's not the end of the world. You can just take these screws out at the top, but obviously you don't really want to have to do that. So just make sure that you don't open it up too close to something, just in case you can't bring it in that little extra bit. Blinds and fly screens all the way around the vehicle work exactly the way they should, as you would expect as part of the habitation check. But yeah, so I think I've shown you everything I can. If there's anything else you want me to show you or run you through, you know, just let us know. But otherwise, I look forward to seeing you soon to collect your van. Thanks very much.